The Expendables 2, the sequel to the first Expendables, which was a movie with Stallone in the lead with a bunch of other action stars coming together as mercenaries to take on this villain because the CIA says that they're bad guys and they don't want to deal with them, so they let a bunch of mercenaries, the Expendables, take care of them. And this is pretty much the same thing rehashed over again because the first movie was successful enough to gain a sequel. And really, I think these movies exist because Stallone wanted to work with a bunch of actors that were, you know, really big on 80s action movies, or later movies as well, with Jet Li and Jason Statham. And basically this is the same thing as the first one. There's this one villain that's out there. The CIA says, go get this one item in this one remote location that we're not going to go touch. You guys go over there, find it. They go over there, there's a villain there. They now have to take on this villain. The difference here is that there's a few bigger roles. Before you had kind of cameos of certain characters like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis, but now they have a little bit of a bigger role. They're still not in the main cast like Stallone, Jason Statham, but you see more of them. And that's the appeal of this, is that it's a throwback to the 80s action films, and it's you want to see Schwarzenegger longer. You want to see Bruce Willis longer. You want to see Stallone more. You want to see all these big action heroes from before, and you want to see them more. Jean-Claude Van Damme this time is the villain, and that works well because as much as I liked Eric Roberts as this really big drug lord in the first movie, he wasn't, he was very sophisticated and a classy man, but he didn't have any physical parts to the movie. Like he had one gun and he shot it once in a while, but he didn't really get into the action because they had Stone Cold Steve Austin playing his bodyguard. And Stone Cold really is only there to, you know, show his muscles, and he's not an amazing action star, whereas Jean-Claude Van Damme is kind of a mixture of both of them. He talks a lot more than Stone Cold does, not to the extent that Eric Roberts would, but he also has the physical element, and he's a better action star. He's able to do a lot of crazier stunts than Stone Cold Steve Austin can do. And I just really liked him because I felt like he was enjoying his time being the villain. You just could tell that he like, you know, I hadn't seen him in a while, and he just seemed like this is like the role that he was meant to play. So I really enjoyed that. And Schwarzenegger, my goodness, Schwarzenegger is one of my favorite action stars of all time, and seeing him more in this, and he's like, I'm back. It was just so rewarding. I loved it. That's another thing with this movie, is that I think that they hit the humor a little bit more. And for a movie like this, I don't really need to see it super serious. I don't need to have like no jokes ever. I like comedy in movies. It makes it a little bit easier to watch, and it keeps my interest level that much higher. I don't get distracted or anything like that. And there's so many lines that are throwbacks to their old characters, especially when Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis are together. But it works well for me. Some people will be like, oh, that's so pathetic and lame, but for me, I enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed those characters before, and you're okay with them going on a cheesier route than they were in their original, you know, big action movies, I think you'll enjoy this movie. I will say though, the first movie is a little bit darker, and I kind of like the setting a little bit more because of, you know, there was times in the first movie when Mickey Rourke and Stallone are talking that it kind of added, you know, there's comedy here, there's a bunch of action stars, but there's also some serious depth to it. You don't really get that with this movie, but it's still a very enjoyable ride. There's more comedy in it, which can be, you know, a positive or a negative depending on how you look at it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will give it a 7 out of 10. Same with the first Expendable. I'm torn between which one I like more. Either way, if you're a fan of these action movies, definitely check them out. They're worth checking out, in my opinion. So thank you all for watching. You've been bearded in. Beardage.